Harpy eagle, the strongest eagle on Earth. What can be better than observing birds? Of course, observing large birds, and if possible, birds that possess more power than any other magnificent wingy fella on this crazy blue planet. I'm glad that you love this idea too, because today we will closely meet the one and only feathery friend from the continent of America, the Harpy eagle. You're watching WildFacts, and today I will tell you a story about a Harpy eagle, the strongest eagle on this planet, and one fairly good-looking guy. If you love birds and magnificent creatures that are just too cool to exist, we suggest you hit the subscribe button and join our animal-loving community. Also, do not forget to ring the bell to get all notifications in time, because the Harpy eagle will not wait for you. So now, let's dive into the life of this bold bird to find out what his existence is all about. The origins of almighty Harpy eagle. The Harpy eagle, the first of its name, is the only member of its genus, Harpia. The Latin name of this extremely dangerous bird is Harpia harpgia. I guess the person who gave the eagle this name just loved the word so much that they called the bird species like that twice. However, firstly, these eagles were named by the famous scientist and a grandpa of the theory of evolution, Carl Linnaeus, in 1758. The man gave the eagle name Vulture harpygia after the one very interesting beast from Greek mythology, Harpy. These mythical creatures look like half birds and half women. Their main job was to carry sinners and just regular people to Tartarus and Hades, and they used a lot of violence to help themselves in this journey. The Harpies were the curse of ancient Greece, and they lived far from the birthplace of their eagle namesake on the island of Crete. We do not know exactly whether Harpy eagles occupy the same position as their distinct namesakes. I simply don't speak bird to learn about it, but they may have worked as one in the 19th century, and that's why Carl Linnaeus gave the birds this name. So let's move from myths to reality. The first members and distant relatives of the Harpy eagle, and all raptors overall, appeared in this world back in the Eocene epoch. As our dear friend, this species is much younger, but their very confident attitude still shows that the birds think they are the kings and queens of this planet, and in some cases, this is true. What's the Harpy eagle's address? There are several birds that may have the name Harpy eagle, but the true possessor of this noble name is the American, or you can also say Brazilian Harpy eagle. Our friend lives in both Americas, from Mexico to Argentina. Most of them live in Brazil, and Panama even has this bird as a national symbol. Harpy eagles live in rainforests, preferably lowland, but they can fly everywhere, even above the cities when they need it. The birds do not tolerate wasting energy for no reason, so you hardly notice them in the sky. In general, seeing this bird in their natural habitat is a pretty rare occasion, so consider yourself lucky when you see it and immediately hide, because this eagle will not mess around with you. Hollywood cribs are nothing compared to the Harpy eagle's homes. These birds build beautiful nests from feathers and sticks, and most of them will spend their whole life in these intimate nests with their lovely bird partner. Yes, Harpy eagles are monogamous, and most of them choose one mate for eternity. They also choose dedicated parenting over having many children, even though females can lay an egg every 2 years. Harpy eagles just want to give as much as they can to their existing chicks, just like we do. The fertile period lasts almost all their life, which is about 30 years on average, and all the kids raised by a couple of Harpy eagles occasionally visit their birth nest and parents. That's very sweet of them. A beautiful appearance of Harpy eagle. Continuing with the chicks, baby Harpy eagles are born all white and need about a year to mature. Once these fellas are all grown up, they change in color and now rock slate back feather coats and white shirts. It makes these birds look like they are wearing suits, so they are always ready for a fancy occasion. The birds are very quiet, rarely speak their truth, and mostly stay silent outside their homes. They start talking with other Harpy eagles occasionally during mating or when Papa bird brings food to the nest and warns Mama bird about its arrival. Smartphones would be much more convenient, but they're not adapted to Harpy eagle talons. Male Harpy eagles can grow up to weigh up to 13 pounds, 6 kilograms, and girls are bigger and can grow up to weigh 20 pounds, 9 kilograms. As for the size, the birds measure from 2 feet, 19 inches to 3 feet, 6 inches, 86.5 to 197 centimeters, on average in length. Of course, Such a big bird has a remarkable wingspan that can be as big as 7 foot 4 inches, 224 centimeters. In addition to great wings, the birds have impressive beaks that can be up to 5.1 inches long, 13 centimeters, and powerful talons, good enough to capture the biggest and yummiest prey. These talons are the biggest among all living eagles, and this is a pretty big deal. What's for dinner for a harpy eagle? I called the harpy eagle the strongest eagle on Earth, but never explained why I think so. Obviously, such a big bird is pretty powerful, and you can make sure about it with just one look on its menu. Harpy eagles mostly feed on tree-dwelling animals, including sloths and monkeys. The last is terrible, because I just love monkeys. These birds also enjoy eating reptiles, armadillos, possums, squirrels, and even porcupines. The prey can be very big, about a half of the bird's weight, and still, an eagle can capture it to eat with its family. But if an eagle can't find food when it's hungry, it's not a big deal. Harpy eagles can fast for 2 straight weeks without a single piece of food and no harm to their bodies. I bet you wonder at this point whether the harpy eagle can catch and eat you in its nest. It sounds scary, but maybe you can chat with chicks and find a new cool eagle friend. Fortunately and unfortunately, the harpy eagle is not strong enough to catch an adult and bring them to its home, but it can harm you and take away a toddler if you have one. So once you see the harpy eagle, just stay away. They are not that friendly and nothing like birds from the Lord of the Ring. What about harpy eagles and us? In our videos, I usually report that people kill big birds, and harpy eagles are not the exception to this rule. People hunt them because of their proven attacks on humans and cattle, and just for fun. But I'm glad to tell you that most people do think that these marvelous birds should live, and they help save the birds in the wilderness and multiply the species to help them survive. Thanks to various organizations, harpy eagles are still here and can be the inspiration for art. This species was chosen as a prototype for Fawkes the Phoenix, a good friend of Dumbledore and the savior of Harry Potter in the Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets movie. That's an achievement not many animals can be proud of. The future of harpy eagle. Like many other wonderful species nowadays, this eagle suffers from global changes, is on the edge of its survival. As of 2020, there are only about 5,000 harpy eagles left in the Amazon forest and not more than 300 in the Atlantic forest. Despite its might, harpy eagles need pretty stable conditions to thrive, and with global warming, deforestation, and extinction of other species, these eagles are counted on for food. Our friends can be the next species entirely wiped out from the planet thanks to pollution. Of course, our job is to help these coy birds to stay with us and survive the mess we caused up to this point when we fix it. Such magnificent guys and gals should be left for future generations to look at and be amazed by them. But probably, leave your toddlers home when you go birdwatching harpy eagles. Andean Condor, the strongest vulture on Earth. Have you ever dreamed of becoming a bird for a day? And not just any regular bird, but some awesome creature that scares the heck out of animals everywhere? Yeah, me too. But since this boring universe lacks magic, we can only dream about it and learn about the most unbelievable creatures on the planet from the videos like this. You're watching WildFacts, and today you will meet one of the most fascinating birds of prey in the world, the magnificent Andean Condor. Together we will explore the exciting life of the strongest vulture on this planet, look into its habitat, and learn everything about its menu. But before we begin, I suggest you subscribe to WildFacts if you love learning about new, interesting creatures on this crazy blue globe. Also, do not forget to ring the bell, and do not miss notifications about new fantastic videos about absolutely regular beasts and where to find them. And now, let's travel to South America and see what Andean Condor has to say to us. Let's meet the Andean Condor, shall we? The Latin name of this gorgeous bird of prey, Vulture griffus. Our dear friend Andean Condor is the only member of this genus called Vulture, which is sad, but it is another thing that makes this bird unique. Although we have fossils of extinct species of different members of the Vulture family that were around in the Pliocene epoch, scientists do not really know how long our friends have been flying over the Earth. It is believed that ancient condors were pretty much like the ones we know today, so we can say for sure that we have them around for a while. The closest relative that was recently alive, but thanks to sweet humans, unfortunately almost extinct, is California condor. This species was almost gone in the wilderness, and in 1987, the remaining birds were caught to save the species. Now, there are about 518 condors in the world, and they are in danger. I hope Andean condors will not find themselves in the same position, but we'll see. But let's get back to our sweet Andean condors. The New World bird was introduced to the Old World in 1758 in the 10th edition of Carl Linnaeus's Systema Naturae. He gave the bird name condor after the word natives gave to this creature in their Quechua language, contour. Yes, it is the same guy who described the Harpy eagle, as you may remember from my previous video about this bird. Have you checked it out yet? If not, the link will be in the description. Together with California condors, Andean condors are now called New World vultures, as opposed to Old World vulture species, which include Gyptaeinae and Gypaeinae clades. Even though all these birds look extremely similar, these families are not closely related. Here, we see another fascinating example of a convergent evolution that created two twin bird families on different continents completely separately. The habitat of the raptor. As I mentioned, the Andean condor is a citizen of the New World, and South America in particular. This bird follows the lifestyle that matches its name. It's lived everywhere throughout the Andean countries of Bolivia, Peru, Ecuador, Chile, and even Argentina. Rarely the raptor can appear in Colombia and Venezuela, but it is as unique as getting up with a clear head in the morning after a fun night. The raptor prefers open grasslands and non-forested areas where it is easy to find a tasty meal to bite in. The Andean condor is the one who flies high in the sky, and if it chooses the place to live, it will be high too, up to 16,000 feet, 5,000 meters above sea level. The vulture often spends time flying around in the sky, looking for a nice warm, or not so warm animal and eating it. Scientists for the longest time couldn't figure out how this bird could fly, considering its magnificent size and weight. It is the biggest flying bird on the planet. The Andean condor uses thermals that will help keep in the sky and rarely flap its wings. The current record was documented in 2020 when one Andean condor flew for about 5 hours without a single flap of wings. This bird covered a distance of 106.8 miles, 172 kilometers, which equals a distance from Orlando to St. Petersburg in Florida. The last one has a pelican on its flag, which is a fun coincidence. Let's talk about the awesome looks of Andean condor. The Andean condor shows distinctive sexual dimorphism, and they are the only species of New World vultures with this feature. Males are usually bigger than females, and although both boys and girls have black feathers, males also rock a comb on the top of their heads and have yellow eyes. Girls do not have a comb at all, and they have red eyes, but they do have weight. Female Andean condors can weigh up to 24 pounds, 11 kilograms, and males up to 33 pounds, 15 kilograms. As for size and wingspan, here our deer condors can be up to 4.25 feet, 1.3 meters long, and have up to 10.5, 3.2 meters wingspan across. Only 3 other species of birds have bigger wingspans, which is very impressive. It is believed that 33 pounds is the edge after which it is impossible for a bird to fly. Now you know if you want to learn to fly, you need to weigh not more than 33 pounds, and be a bird, of course. Besides black feathers, both males and females have white neck ruffles and white secondary feathers on their wings. Also, their heads are bold. As for kids, they have brown plumage, and it turns black only when a condor reaches sexual maturity. It happens when they are around 5 or 6 years old. Andean condors, though very quiet, can show true love to their partners because these lovebirds mate for life. They form a pair and have a little condor kid every 2 to 3 years. If the last year's egg does not hatch, they will skip their 2-year vacation and try again. The birds do not make nests and prefer living in caves high in the mountains. In the wilderness, they can live up to 50 years, but in captivity, they feel better, and some specimens died at the very mature age of 80 years old. Oh my God, look what Andean condor has for dinner! Our dear South American friend is an important part of the continent's ecology and an absolute adorable scavenger that feeds mainly on carrion. As I said before, Andean condors are fans of energy efficiency, and they even eat only what was already dead by now. Usually the birds prey on llamas, deer, alpacas, rabbits, and domestic animals. The ones that live near the coastline can feed on big marine animals, preferably mammals like sea lions and whales if they can find their carcasses. Also, Andean condors can eat armadillos and guanacos because their strong beaks can break strong bones and shells of these animals. Sometimes the birds hunt for smaller animals if they can't find carrion, but nature usually gives plenty enough options on a bird's plate to enjoy animal carcasses with its family. Andean condor as a cultural phenomenon. Besides just being a fantastic bird, the Andean condor has a big cultural significance for the countries where it lives. It appears in many mythological sources, and Incas even believe the bird is the immortal representation of the sky. The Andean condor appears on the national coat of arms of Colombia, Peru, Chile, Bolivia, Ecuador, and Venezuela. And it is a symbol of many South American countries and regions. Unfortunately, despite being such a big part of the culture, the Andean condor still has to deal with crappy things people do to it. Since 1970, the bird has been considered to be an endangered species. Of course, it happens because of many reasons, but the main is still our human intervention. Also, since these condors procreate pretty rarely, they just have nothing to answer to people who still hunt Andean condors and poison their habitat with toxic waste. Today, we have only about 3,000 specimens in wilderness and captivity, and thanks to numerous funds and companies, the number rises, but it does that slowly, so it still needs our help. And now, the story of the Andean condor ends here, at least today and on this channel. Did you like the lives and tries of Andean condor? Which part of today's video did you find to be the most interesting?
In the world of nocturnal predators, one mysterious creature stands out as a symbol of stealth and lethal prowess, the great horned owl. With its penetrating gaze, this bird of prey commands the sky, earning its nickname, the Silent Killer. Cloaked in the robes of darkness, the great horned owl emerges as a masterful hunter, seamlessly navigating the shadows to become a formidable apex predator in the world of avian predators. That's why in today's video, we'll take a closer look at the great horned owl and discover why it's one of the strongest avian predators to exist. The great horned owl is also commonly referred to as the tiger owl. This name harks back to early naturalists' vivid descriptions, likening it to a winged tiger or the tiger of the air. Additionally, it has earned the colloquial moniker of the hoot owl, a nod to its distinctive vocalizations that echo through the night. Endowed with an extensive range, the great horned owl is a true testament to adaptability, showcasing its ability to thrive in diverse habitats across the Americas. Among its preferred environments are dense forests, where the owl can be found seamlessly navigating through both deciduous and coniferous woodlands. In these settings, the owl takes advantage of the abundant cover provided by the thick foliage, using it as a strategic vantage point for hunting various prey species. Equally surprising is the great horned owl's presence in arid regions such as deserts. This adaptive bird has proven its resilience in environments where water may be scarce, showcasing a capacity to locate and exploit available resources efficiently. Urban and suburban areas also fall within the purview of the great horned owl's habitat choices. As cities and towns encroach upon natural habitats, these adaptable birds have demonstrated an ability to coexist with human development. They can be found nesting in parks, wooded areas within urban sprawls, and even in patches of greenery surrounded by buildings. So when was this owl first discovered? Well, the formal description of the great horned owl dates back to 1788, when the German naturalist Johann Friedrich Gmelin meticulously documented its characteristics in his revised and expanded edition of Carl Linnaeus's Systema Naturae. The great horned owl, known for its adaptability, showcases a stunning array of features designed for effective camouflage in diverse habitats. Its coloration serves as a blend of shades and patterns, ensuring the owl remains discreet in its surroundings. The underparts typically exhibit a light color with brown horizontal barring, while the upper parts and wings display a mottled brown pattern with darker markings, contributing to the owl's overall camouflage. A distinctive white patch on the throat is a key element of the great horned owl's camouflage strategy. The facial disc, critical for sound location during hunting, comes in various colors, ranging from reddish to brown to gray. The iconic horns are tufts of feathers called plumicorns, whose exact purpose remains a subject of study. It is hypothesized that plumicorns serve as visual cues in interactions with other owls. The black feet and legs, concealed by feathers even in tropical climates, further contribute to the owl's incredible camouflage. In terms of size, the great horned owl holds the title of the heaviest extant owl in Central and South America and is North America's second heaviest owl, following the closely related but distinct-looking snowy owl. Characterized by a robust build, barrel-shaped body, large head, and broad wings, this owl's size exhibits significant variation across its range. Adult great horned owls have a length range of 64 centimeters, 25 inches, and boast a wingspan spanning up to 1.53 meters, 5 feet, with an average of 122 centimeters, 48 inches. Females, on average, are slightly larger than males. The average body weight is 1.2 kilograms, 2.6 pounds for males. As for its weapons, the talons of the great horned owl are powerful and sharp, designed for grasping and securing a wide variety of prey. These large curved talons are formidable weapons, allowing the owl to snatch and hold on to its quarry with remarkable strength. The great horned owl's hunting success is significantly attributed to the precision and strength of its talons, which are well adapted to its role as a silent and efficient nocturnal predator. The bill of the great horned owl complements its talons in the hunting process. While not as visually prominent as its talons, the bill is a versatile tool for tearing and consuming prey. The strong, sharp beak is adept at rending flesh and breaking bones, facilitating the owl's ability to feed on a diverse range of prey. Together, the powerful talons and sharp bill of the great horned owl, coupled with its unparalleled stealth capabilities, make it one of the scariest nocturnal predators. The hunting process of the great horned owl is a meticulous and calculated sequence of actions, finely tuned to exploit the owl's exceptional senses and predatory adaptations. As a primarily nocturnal predator, the great horned owl begins its hunting process under the cover of darkness. Its remarkable night vision, enhanced by large forward-facing eyes, allows the owl to navigate and scan its surroundings for potential prey with exceptional clarity. A key element in the hunting strategy of the great horned owl is its silent flight. The aforementioned adapted feathers on the wings and a fringed leading edge help minimize noise during flight. This near-silent approach enables the owl to sneak up on unsuspecting prey without alerting them to its presence. The owl's acute hearing is a critical tool in the hunting process. The facial disc, a characteristic feature, helps funnel sound to the ears, allowing the owl to locate prey in complete darkness. The ability to pinpoint the rustling of small animals or the flutter of wings enables the owl to accurately determine the location of potential meals. Once a potential prey item is detected, the great horned owl employs its keen eyesight and silent flight to surveil the target. From a concealed perch, such as a tree branch or other elevated vantage point, the owl patiently observes and stalks its prey, calculating the optimal moment to strike. When the time is right, the owl launches a swift and lethal attack. Descending from its perch or swooping down from the air, the owl uses its powerful talons to grasp the prey securely. The talons are designed to pierce through the prey's fur or feathers and deliver a swift and efficient capture. Having secured its prey, the great horned owl uses its strong, sharp bill to tear into the flesh and consume the meal. The owl is capable of swallowing small prey whole, while larger prey may be torn into more manageable pieces. The digestive system of the owl is adapted to regurgitate indigestible parts, such as bones and fur, in the form of pellets. All of this culminates in one of the most efficient hunting processes to ever exist. Research suggests that the great horned owl has a hunting success rate of 66%. In simple terms, this means that 2 in 3 hunts are always successful. This success rate is on par with that of the red-tailed hawk. The great horned owl sustains itself through a diverse diet that showcases its versatility in hunting. Among its favored prey are mammals, and the owl exhibits remarkable proficiency in capturing a range of sizes. From small rodents like rats, mice, and voles to larger mammals such as rabbits and hares, this owl does not discriminate. Additionally, it is known to target skunks and other mammals, underscoring the owl's adaptability to different ecosystems and dietary niches. Birds also feature prominently in the great horned owl's menu. With its adept hunting skills, the owl preys on a variety of bird species, including songbirds, waterfowl, and other raptors. Its ability to silently approach its avian prey and swiftly seize it with its powerful talons makes the great horned owl an efficient and lethal aerial hunter. The great horned owl's predatory prowess extends beyond mammals and birds to include other members of the animal kingdom. Reptiles such as snakes and amphibians like frogs may also fall victim to the owl's hunting capabilities. This adaptability in its diet allows the great horned owl to exploit a variety of ecological niches, contributing to its success as a widespread and resilient predator. Overall, owls are usually considered to be quite timid in comparison to other avian predators. However, the great horned owl is not one to be messed with. This bird of prey might lurk in the shadows, but the carcasses it leaves behind are still there in the day. Emu, the iconic Australian bird. The land of Australia certainly has more than its fair share of quirky and unique animals. Koala bears, wallabies, wombats, and of course, the legendary roos. However, our focus today is on a large bird that is as much of an icon as any of these other critters from the land down under. We are of course talking about the emu. So grab those steaks off the barbie, settle in, and enjoy as we look at everything there is to know about these spectacular birds. Let's go. What is an emu? Emus are big birds from the land of Australia. In fact, they are the second largest bird in Australia behind the fearsome cassowary, and the third largest bird in the world behind the ostrich and the cassowary. Well, technically fifth or so because there are 2 ostrich species and 2 cassowary species that outweigh emus. Scientists refer to the emu as Dromaeus novaehollandii, and it is classified under the Casuariidae family alongside cassowaries. Ostriches belong to the same Palaegnathae infraclass as emus and cassowaries, but they are part of the Struthonidae family. Emus are the only species in the Dromaeus genus, and Dromaeus novaehollandii is the only generally accepted subspecies. The status of Dromaeus novaehollandii rothschildi and Dromaeus novaehollandii woodwardi as legitimate subspecies has been hotly disputed for a while now. There are only 3 recognized extinct subspecies. Emus have a long history in their native land, and they are prominent in many indigenous tribes and cultures. They have played heroic, villainous, and more ambiguous roles in native mythologies for centuries, and are often depicted in paintings, sculptures, and other arts. Additionally, the emu was and still is a major food source for these people. The emu is also a ubiquitous icon in modern Australia. It is still hunted for food and sport and is depicted in countless cultural contexts. You'll find emus on the nation's coat of arms, currency, school banners, and many other places. In fact, Australia's national touch football team is the Emus. The source of the name emu is also a point of debate. The rough consensus is that it is derived from the Portuguese term ema, which was used to describe large birds that resemble ostriches and cranes. The Portuguese were among the first European visitors to Australia's western coast, but a Dutchman, Captain Willem de Vlaming, was the first to document the birds during an expedition. Because of the Dutch influence, emus were called New Holland cassowaries for a time, which is where the species name novaehollandii comes from. Emus are very easy to spot and identify, even at a distance or in low flight. Their size is their standout trait, but their gait and plumage are also unmistakable. Head to toe, emus can stand as tall as 6 feet 3 inches, but are quite a bit shorter on average. Bill to tail, they are between 55 and 65 inches long. Their necks contribute significantly to body length and standing height. They have a pretty wide weight range, falling anywhere between 40 and 130 pounds. Emus are sexually dimorphic, with females being the larger and more dominant sex. Females can be very aggressive, especially when it comes to mates. Emu feathers are also quite interesting. Though they resemble grizzled fur, they are actually feathers. They cover every part of the bird bar the head, neck, legs, and feet. Feathers can be anywhere from bluish gray to reddish brown, and the specific hue is often an adaptation to that particular emu's home range. These birds live all over Australia, a huge land with all sorts of landscapes and environments, and the ability to blend in quickly is part of the reason. Feathers have other practical uses besides camouflage. For starters, they provide insulation against the elements and harvest benefits from them. Outer feathers absorb vital nutrients from sunlight, while inner feathers dispel heat if it gets too hot. The inner feathers can also help retain heat when it gets cold, a common occurrence in high-altitude zones or desert nights. Secondly, the double feather provides a natural shield from physical attacks. The thick plumage can also absorb or deflect attacks from predators or other emus. The emu is also a fairly leggy Sheila, as the locals would say. An emu's legs, thighs, and pelvic muscles make up a large part of its mass. The long, powerful limbs take 9-foot strides when in full flight. No pun. A walking stride is just over 3 feet, perfect for sweeping through grassland, forest, or sandy wasteland looking for forage. At the end of the emu's impressive legs are its equally eye-catching feet. Now, seriously, an emu can hack your eye clean out of its socket with a swipe of one of its 3 mean claws. The feet are thick and padded, which helps with walking softly or delivering deadly force. Like with many birds, especially the flightless kind, legs and feet are key to mobility in combat. Emus can run as fast as 30 miles per hour, and they don't need much time to reach top speed. They can also jump, both high and long, at an Olympic level, and they have cleared many a farmer's fence to pinch the harvest. When threatened, or doing the threatening, emus often turn to their legs as well. They leap forward cockfight style and claw and rake at the target. They can deliver both devastating blunt force and mean slashes in equal measure, and they are often generous enough to give both. The breeding season is when emus clash most frequently, as hopeful singles literally claw their way to a chance at love. Though flightless, emus have small vestigial wings that they flap about for several reasons: stretching, intimidation, or balance when running. The wings are seldom over 8 inches long, and each of them is tipped with a tiny claw. Facially, emus have a far stronger resemblance to ostriches than the flamboyantly crowned cassowaries. They have relatively short beaks that range between 2.2 and 2.6 inches. Their heads and upper necks are sporadically covered in fine hairs. Emus boast remarkable senses, particularly sight and sound. These are crucial for finding food and dodging danger. Emu eyes have special secondary eyelids that are translucent, so the birds are not hindered by dust or other irritants. Their ear holes are also surrounded by clumps of hair-like feathers for the same protective reason. The emu's relatively hairless neck also holds another cool feature: the vocal pouch, or tracheal pouch. This pouch is an inbuilt musical instrument used for the emu's signature boom call. The vocal pouch changes size throughout the years and grows to its largest size during the breeding season when it is used the most. An emu issues a booming call to ward emus of the same sex away from its territory and to attract mates. Females do most of the booming to woo males and drive away rivals when their mates are incubating the eggs. Emus are diurnal creatures that sleep at night. Most of their waking hours are spent looking for food. They are omnivorous birds, but the bulk of their diet is made up of grasses and plants. They also eat bugs, crickets, ladybugs, moths, millipedes, and beetles for their rich protein. Wild emus have been documented following certain dietary needs at specific parts of the year, but they are also very opportunistic. Crops like corn and wheat are not safe from emus, and Australian farmers have been at war with the birds for generations. Where do emus live? Emus live all over mainland Australia and have been reintroduced to neighboring islands like Tasmania after previously going extinct. There are healthy populations both inland and along the coast. They are highly adaptable creatures and will settle anywhere with a reliable food supply and good access to mates. Their preferred habitat is wooded grassland because of the grazing, but they live in forests and semi-deserts too, although they tend to avoid settling in super dry areas. Emus are not strictly territorial or migratory. They have a needs-must approach to settlement. If a place has safety, a comfortable climate, ample food, and healthy reproductive avenues, they'll stay indefinitely. If one or more of these requirements is lacking or lost, they will consider moving. An interesting case study on emu migration and settlement is the contrast between birds in eastern Australia and birds in the west. Wild emus on the western side mostly follow a seasonal north-south migration, which indicates climate-based push or pull factors. On the eastern side, emu movement patterns are much less organized, which points to many factors or factor combinations. How social are emus? Most times, emus are fairly cordial and friendly to each other. Most adults are either solitary or engaged in some pre-breeding season pair bond. However, emus may congregate in rich feeding grounds or migrate together in large groups as they seek greener pastures. However, things get tricky in the breeding season, which occurs in the winter months of April to July. During this time, pre-bonded pairs rush to pick out the best territories for mating and nesting, while the rest play the long and sometimes bloody courtship games. Single females scout for eligible bachelors, or failing that, males with mates already. A single female will coyly circle a male she likes, displaying her rump and producing a low-frequency boom from her engorged neck pouch. If another female is interested or already pair-bonded to the male in question, a fight will break out to see who gets him. Most breeding season violence is female on female. Males fight too, but much less frequently. Male emus usually fight in defense of their eggs and chicks rather than over females. Anyway, when a pair of emus selects each other, they will establish a brood territory and mate with each other for a fortnight or so. During this time, the female lays a clutch of 5 to 15 eggs in a ground nest the pair builds together. When the eggs are laid, the male's paternal instincts kick in and he begins to guard and incubate the eggs. Once a male emu begins sitting on the eggs, he becomes the definition of commitment. For 56 days, he stays there without eating, drinking, or even relieving himself, living only on morning dew if he can reach it. The male periodically gets up to roll the eggs over so they may be warmed evenly. During incubation, females may help the male by offering to take turns sitting on them while the male looks for food, though this is pretty rare. What usually happens is that the female wanders off and never looks back. If there is enough time and another suitable bachelor, she will mate again and lay another nest of eggs. In some cases, a female may breed 3 times with 3 different males in a single season. The eggs hatch at 56 days and chicks covered in a fluff of cream and brown striping emerge, ready to walk around and forage. Their father sticks by them for up to 7 months, teaching them how to forage and shielding them from predators like monitor lizards, birds of prey, and dingoes. Fathers and chicks can remain together for up to a year before the young ones set off to their respective destinies. Shoebill, a living legend of the African wilderness. One of Africa's most unique birds, the shoebill is endemic to Central and East Africa's swamps and wetlands. They were discovered in 1850 by European scientists during their expeditions into marshy areas of Africa to the sources of the Nile. These creatures are known for their odd appearance, which we're going to talk about later on as we go through this video. Currently, shoebills are listed as vulnerable on the IUCN Red List. This means that they are at risk of becoming extinct, with an estimated population of only about 3,300 to 5,300 mature individuals left in the wild. Aside from their appearance, these animals have an interesting history too. So if you want to learn more about them, make sure to stick with us until the end. What is a shoebill? First and foremost, let's talk about what a shoebill is. At a glance, shoebills do not look like they are capable of being ambush predators. These birds can reach a height of up to 5 feet, have a wingspan of 8 feet, slaty blue-gray feathers, darker gray heads, a white belly, a small tuft of feathers on the back of their heads, and yellow eyes. They also have long, thin legs and big feet that are perfect for roaming in the vegetation in marshes, swamps, and wetlands. Males are typically larger and have longer bills than females, but shoebills are mostly known for their unique foot-long bill with tan and brown markings that resembles a wooden shoe. Their bills are 5 inches wide with sharp edges that enable them to forage on big prey, such as eels, tilapia, lungfish, snakes, frogs, and even baby crocodiles and Nile monitor lizards. So depending on your viewpoint, these animals can be charming as the extinct dodo, or they can be intimidating animals who can launch an assault anytime. Geographic range. Shoebills are native to Africa, especially the east-central area of the continent. Most of them are found in southern Sudan, Bangwealu Swamp of northeastern Zambia, and the wetlands of western Tanzania and northern Uganda. A smaller group can be seen in Rwanda and eastern Zaire. Habitat. As mentioned, shoebills live in vast, dense marshes and freshwater swamps. They are usually spotted in areas where there are undisturbed reed beds and papyrus. They can also be found in waters with low oxygen levels, as this enables fish to surface in the water more often, thus allowing shoebills to forage for food much more easily. When they inhabit areas with deep water, it is required to have a bed of floating vegetation. Food habits. When it comes to food habits, shoebills are mostly seen looking for food in aquatic environments. Their carnivorous diet usually comprises lungfish, catfish, tilapia, bitch ears, and water snakes. And as mentioned earlier, they may also eat frogs, lizards, turtles, mollusks, young crocodiles, and carrions. For them, the best location to look for prey is shallow water and tall vegetation for them to camouflage. This explains why they are seen in locations where there are reed beds and papyrus. There are 2 mechanisms by which shoebills stalk their prey. The first one is stand and wait, and the second one is wade and walk slowly. Shoebills are capable of being motionless for hours, so it is easy for their prey not to notice them right away. Once these birds spot prey, they apply a hunting technique called collapsing. Their head and neck stretch forward into the water, which results in them overbalancing and collapsing forward and downward. They must regain their balance and rise to their feet before performing the second collapse. However, along with the prey, they also collect a mouthful of vegetation. In order to get rid of it, they move their head from side to side while keeping a hold of their meal. Normally, their prey is decapitated before being eaten. Reproduction. Shoebills are considered fully matured when they turn 3 to 4 years old. These animals form monogamous pairs of breeding. Being solitary in nature, even the mating pairs are seen foraging on opposite sides of their territory, which is approximately 3 square kilometers. Usually, they build nests up in water or on floating vegetation. During the breeding season, shoebills are very territorial and will not hesitate to protect their nest from any predators and competitors. At the end of the rainy season, females usually lay 2 eggs. However, only the one who proves to be the strongest survives. The weaker one, unfortunately, is left to die. The good thing about shoebill parents is that both of them care for their eggs and young, from incubating and turning over the eggs using their feet or bill to egg watering. Egg watering is what an adult shoebill does to keep the egg cool. They do this by getting a mouthful of water using their bill and pouring it into the nest. In about a month, the hatching happens. Chicks are bluish-gray in color, and they also have a bill that is lighter in color. Compared to other birds, the development of shoebills is a slow process. It takes them about 60 days before their feathers are fully developed, and they fledge at about 95 days. However, they can only fly when they are around 105 to 112 days old. After fledgling, their parents will continue to feed them for about a month. Beyond this point, shoebills are completely independent. Behavior. As mentioned earlier, shoebills are very solitary animals, so you wouldn't find them in groups unless there is a shortage in food supply. So there's no option for them but to look for food in the same location. Shoebills are also known to be non-migratory. so long as there is enough food supply in their environment. However, they can also be seen making movements between nesting and feeding zones in their range. During the day, it is common to see shoebills soaring above their territory. They are also very docile with humans. In fact, they are not known to threaten humans. Instead, they will only stare right back at them. Although these animals are usually quiet, it is not uncommon to see them participating in bill clattering, which is a characteristic of true storks when greeting each other. They also practice gular fluttering, similar to dog panting, that involves vibrating the throat muscles to create heat, thus helping in regulating their body temperature. When hungry, chicks make a noise similar to hiccups. Now that you know the basic information about these living legends of the African wilderness, let me share with you some of the most interesting facts about these big birds. Number 1. Shoebills may be big in size, but they are capable of flying if they choose to. However, shoebills cannot fly frequently, and they can also not travel very far. But considering their height and weight, it's amazing how they are capable of flying in the air. Number 2. Shoebills have long toes with no webbing, thus enabling them to better balance on the swampy vegetation while foraging. In addition, they also have a translucent layer called a nictating membrane, which protects their eyes while they hunt. Number 3. Shoebills inhabit an area where there is danger almost everywhere. Illness is prevalent, predators are present, and food can be limited. So in order for them to survive, they need to be brave. That said, these birds are aggressive toward other animals. They may see smaller animals as prey, and they also will not hesitate to fight with larger animals. These birds can be seen brawling with Nile crocodiles and even with other shoebills and storks. However, even if they are brave, shoebills do not always win in a fight. Number 4. Shoebills are extremely patient animals. They can stand motionless for hours to blend with their environment while hunting for their next prey. At the right moment, they will launch and attack their prey. Number 5. Considering that they are birds and they live in the wild, shoebills are actually long-lived animals that can live up to 36 years. In fact, they can live long enough to witness 7 generations. Number 6. As mentioned at the beginning of this video, shoebills are nearing extinction with only less than 8,000 birds left in the wild. Their population continues to decline due to threats by hunters, destruction of their habitat, as well as cultural taboos, resulting in them being captured by tribes. This led to them being extinct even in some parts of Africa.
Bald eagle, the symbol of the United States and the most famous eagle. Oh, say, can you see such a beautiful bird? Yes, today's hero of the day is the one and only bald eagle, the symbol of the United States of America, absolute hottie in the birds world, and the creature that would probably come to your mind first when you think of eagles. Not the band, birds. This is WildFacts, and today we will uncover the secrets of the gorgeous bald eagle, a bird of prey and courage, a simply amazing creature, and I can't wait to tell you about it. But before we begin, I suggest you subscribe to the channel. Thanks! And now, without any further ado, let's dive into the story of the bald eagle, the most famous eagle in the world. Let's meet the bald eagle, shall we? So the Latin name of the bird is Hyalidas leucocephalus, where genus Hyalidas is translated from Greek as sea eagle, and the part Leucocephalius, whitehead. And yes, if you are confused why such a feathery bird may seem bald to anyone, actually, the term bald here means white, and not the lack of hair on its head. As with many other creatures on this planet, the first person who described the bird and presented it to the whole world to see was Carl Linnaeus, an absolute star of the documenting world. In his Systema Naturae, published in the 18th century, Carl gave the bald eagle the name Falco leucocephalaeus, but now the first part, Falco, is not in use anymore, which is a shame because it is a much cooler name than Hyalidas, at least in my opinion. The bald eagle has 2 subspecies in its collection, H.I. leocephalus, described by Linnaeus in 1766, and H.I. washingtonianus, described by John James Audubon in 1827. What's also amazing about the bald eagle is that it forms a species pair with the white-tailed eagle, the very close fella from Eurasia. These two are extremely similar, and they occupy the same niche, but one lives in America and another in Eurasia. Both species appeared in the evolutionary arena somewhere during the early Miocene, or about 10 million years ago, but it could have happened even earlier since some scientists believe that these birds entered the world more than 25 million years ago. Well, you never know, but still, they're extremely old birds. Sweet home of the bald eagle. No, their sweet home is not Alabama, or to be particular, not only Alabama. The bald eagle resides all across the North American continent, and it can say that it is an all-American bird, continent-wise. As you remember, there are two subspecies of the bird, and they prefer to live in absolutely different conditions. The first one prefers to live in the southern part of the North American continent, and the second one lives in the north in Alaska, Canada, and some northern states in the USA. They do not distinguish too much from each other, but the H.I. washingtonianus one is a little bit bigger. The eagles love living near the big bodies of water, since it is the only place where their favorite food, fish, lives. They do prefer bigger water reservoirs, so you can meet them near a small lake, but it is just reasonable. The more water, the more fish. The bald eagle also needs some big and hardwood trees to create its spectacular home, the large nest from sticks. I call it spectacular since most of them are about 5 feet, 1.5 meters in diameter, but often they can be even bigger, up to 10 feet wide, 3 meters. Like all Americans, bald eagles enjoy large spaces, and good for them. The nest is not only a home for eagles, but it is also a love nest for a pair of them. Here are a couple of bald eagles which, by the way, mate for life, have their kids, and enjoy a peaceful married life. However, if they can't conceive after numerous attempts, the couple can split, and the lovers will go to look for a new pair. That's very sad, actually. They breed in mid-February, and both mommy and daddy take care of the eggs and kids equally up to their 8-week birthday, when a little eaglet says goodbye and goes looking for its own destiny. And the last sweet thing about these magnificent birds, I would love to say in a family context, is that bald eagles rarely, but it happens, adopt other raptors to save kids from death. That is so noble of a mighty bald eagle. In the wilderness, the bald eagle can live up to 20 years on average, but in captivity, they can thrive a lot longer, up to 50 years, which is much more promising. Let's talk about the looks. The bald eagle has a distinctive appearance, dark brown body with a beautiful white head, white tail, and very bright yellow beaks and legs. Girls and boys look the same, but ladies are much larger than their male counterparts. Little and juvenile eagles do not have their special white hair on their heads and tails. They are all brown with white mottled wings and only hope for a day when they can go bald. I mean white. On average, female eagles can weigh up to 12 pounds, 5.6 kilograms, and males up to 9 pounds, 4 kilograms. They can grow to be about 11 to 15 pounds, 5 to 7 kilograms, and it is believed that this is the limit for these birds. As for the length, the bird can grow up to be about 40 inches, 102 centimeters long with a wingspan up to 8 feet, 2.44 meters. Southern birds are smaller than the northern friends, and most of them would be smaller than the numbers I said above, but still, they're spectacular. What the bald eagle eats for dinner. The bald eagle would probably love sushi because fish is its favorite dish. They are true carnivores, and they consume not only fish, but also mallards, geese, hares, possums, cats, etc. But this list is far from being full. Basically, bald eagles can eat everything they find tasty, and they find many things delicious. They are opportunists, and when the bald eagle sees a delicious creature, it preys on it. Sometimes bald eagles can steal food from other animals if they believe that they can get away with it, and I think it's pretty reasonable. After all, the strongest usually survive. Also, the birds personally do not hunt dangerous species alone because they want to live, so they stay out of trouble. Our lovely feathered friends usually get along well with everyone, but one pretty unique enemy for them is the common loon, a bird that looks very angry, I must say. However, even though the common loon attacks the bald eagle, our today's hero does the same to it, so this rivalry is mutual. The bald eagles usually catch prey with their claws, and they can hold it in one claw while tearing apart the prey with another during the feast. Like many other birds of prey, the bald eagle can spend a long time without food if they need to, but since we know that in captivity they live much longer, it seems to be that regular feeding is better for the birds than fasting after all. The bald eagle and people. The bald eagle is a national symbol of the United States and a loved and cherished creature you can meet on the Great Seal. However, like many other animals, this one could have been destroyed completely at the end of the 20th century due to, you guessed it, human interruption into the bald eagle's ecosystem. Thanks to enormous effort from government and wildlife protectors, in 2007, it was announced that the species was now saved and it is officially moved to the least concern status. Thanks to courageous people who tried everything to save the bald eagle, it is now not in danger. This amazing change in the bald eagle's destiny shows that we can change the circumstances to save innocent lives. Even though we can't save everyone, we can save some. We need to make this happen for many other animals that can go extinct because of us and help them too. Also, we must remember that once saved, the species can become endangered again. We must continue protecting and helping the bird live and thrive.
Ostrich, the biggest and most dangerous bird on the planet. When we think of dangerous birds, animals like eagles and hawks come to mind first. Sharp beaks, long talons, and large wingspans make them excellent predators. But there's one bird that's much more dangerous than that. It's a bird that can win a race against a leopard, win a fight against a lion, and do all of that without even using its wings. This is WildFacts, and today we'll tell you the story of the ostrich, the biggest and most dangerous bird on the planet. Before we start, consider subscribing to our channel and clicking the notification bell so you're the first one to see our new video. Ostrich 101. Before we talk about what specifically makes ostriches so dangerous and powerful, let's start with the basics. There are two species of ostrich, the common ostrich and the Somali ostrich, but the latter was thought to be the subspecies of the former as recently as 2014. Talking about subspecies, the common ostrich has three extant: the South African ostrich, the Maasai ostrich, and the North African ostrich. There was also the fourth subspecies called the Arabian ostrich, which was extensively hunted for its feathers, eggs, meat, and leather in the Arabian Peninsula. Sadly, it went extinct in the second part of the 20th century. All subspecies of the common ostrich are very similar in appearance and characteristics, the main difference being their habitats, as you could probably guess from the names. However, we're going to focus on the biggest subspecies, the North African ostrich. It's the biggest bird in the world, growing up to 9 feet or 275 centimeters tall and weighing up to 340 pounds or 154 kilograms. It's found in savannas and semi-deserts that are notoriously difficult to survive, with temperatures sometimes surpassing 105 degrees Fahrenheit or 40 degrees Celsius. The scorching sun and arid air push the ostrich to specifically adapt to such an environment. The ostrich regulates its body temperature by panting, just like dogs. However, unlike dogs, the bird doesn't have sweat glands and cannot cool itself by sweating. That's where its unique feathers come in. They basically act as a thermostat, regulating its body temperature. Feather flattening helps the ostrich preserve its body heat during cold nights, but more impressive is feather fluffing. By moving the feathers, the ostrich can create a 3-inch or 7.6 centimeter thick insulating layer of air which prevents it from overheating during hot days. The ostrich has also evolved a unique heart structure that's unlike flying birds, and large nostrils supplying oxygen to the lungs that have 10 air sacs. Finally, its metabolism and great water retention ability allow the ostrich to get enough hydration from its diet and survive without water for days on end. So, what's it eating? The ostrich is an omnivore, meaning its diet consists of both plant and animal-based foods. However, it's mainly built around plant material, and things like shrubs, grass, leaves, and bushes constitute over half of its total diet. The ostrich hunts only about 5% of its food, preying on small mammals, including various species of rodents, lizards, and frogs, and even insects like locusts and moths. Most interestingly is that as much as 1/5 of its diet by weight consists of rocks, pebbles, and minerals that aid in digestion. Unlike all birds, the ostrich doesn't have teeth, so it swallows its food whole. Such food is difficult to digest, so the ostrich keeps rocks in one of its 2 stomachs and uses them to grind up the food inside, making it easier to digest. You might have asked how the ostrich can be the most dangerous bird on the planet if it doesn't have teeth. And well, it's time to explore the lethal arsenal it possesses. How ostriches defeat lions. The ostrich inhabits the same areas as the big cats of Africa, including cheetahs, leopards, and lions. They are some, if not the most ferocious predators roaming the earth. The big cats are unmatched in speed and strength and are equipped with sharp claws and teeth that can penetrate even the thickest skin. So how possibly could a flightless bird that primarily eats plants and sometimes preys on mice and rats defeat animals like that? For starters, the ostrich is really good at avoiding such encounters in the first place. It's the owner of the biggest eyes of all land vertebrates, measuring 2 inches or 5 centimeters in diameter. Not only are these eyes huge, but they're also protected from the sun, dust, and sand by long eyelashes. It results in spectacular vision, making the ostrich capable of spotting predators miles away. However, the big cats of Africa are gifted with supreme hunting instincts and ambushing skills, which allow them to sneak up on the ostrich without being noticed. Surprisingly, even that rarely ends poorly for the ostrich, as it's the fastest bipedal animal on Earth and can reach the speed of 45 miles per hour or 72 kilometers per hour. For comparison, that's faster than the top speed of leopards, who can reach 40 miles per hour or 64 kilometers per hour, and comparable to lions, who can run at 50 miles per hour or 80 kilometers per hour for short bursts of time. Alright, but what happens if the ostrich has nowhere to go and has to fight its attacker? Believe it or not, the bird is gifted with one of the most lethal weapons in the entire animal kingdom: kicks. According to some sources, the ostrich can kick with a force of 2,000 psi. To put this into perspective, the bite force of a leopard is about 300 psi, meaning the kick of a single ostrich packs nearly as much force as the bites of 7 leopards combined. In addition to that, each foot of the ostrich is adorned with 4-inch or 10-centimeter long talons that's sharp enough to easily pierce through the skin of most animals. You might think leopards are nothing compared to lions, so how does the ostrich's kick measure up against the bite force of the lion? The biggest African cat has a bite force of about 650 psi, meaning it would take 3 lions to generate as much force by biting as 1 ostrich can by kicking. However, that's not all, and the ostrich has another way of protecting itself from predators. Sometimes the ostrich can use its hard breastbone to ram into the target, knocking it over. Then the ostrich uses its natural gift of weight and starts jumping on the victim, crushing it alive. Just to remind you, the ostrich can weigh up to 340 pounds or 150 kilograms, and that's more than enough weight to seriously mess someone up. That being said, just knowing that the ostrich is more capable of being lethal is not enough to call it the most dangerous bird on the planet. Is it aggressive enough to use its weapons proactively? Does it attack humans? Ostrich behavior. First of all, the ostrich is a diurnal species, meaning it's active during the day. More importantly, it's one of the most territorial land animals, with males protecting areas spanning up to 7 3/4 square miles or 20 square kilometers. If someone enters its territory, the ostrich isn't hesitant to show up and let them know who's the boss there. It's also necessary to mention that ostriches are some of the most hunted wild species in Africa. It's a highly prized game among indigenous peoples because the red and lean meat of a single ostrich can feed an entire village for weeks. Poachers also actively hunt ostriches, as there are a few things a poacher can boast about more than accurately hitting a bird that's running 45 miles per hour. Not only that, but ostriches are widely farmed in many parts of the world, including Europe, Asia, Africa, and the US. As ostriches aren't fully domesticated, farming them is a risky endeavor. The ostrich aggressively lashing out at a farmer isn't something out of the ordinary and happens rather frequently. As you can see, there's a lot of interaction between humans and ostriches in both the wild and commercial settings. Because of that, every single year, several people lose their lives after being kicked or stomped on by an ostrich, and many more just barely survive after sustaining serious injuries.
Peregrine Falcon, the life of a predator at maximum speed. While jets and high-speed cars are impressive, there's something truly awe-inspiring about the true speedster of nature, the Peregrine Falcon. Clocking in at incredible speeds during hunting dives, these raptors redefine the meaning of fast. What allows them to achieve such mind-blowing speeds, and how do they survive hurtling through the air at a pace that could rupture lungs or tear through the air passages of other animals? Stay tuned to find out. Appearance. The peregrine falcon, also simply called the peregrine, or historically known as the duck hawk in North America, is revered for its grace and speed. This majestic bird of prey belonging to the Falconidae family has up to 19 species. You can spot a peregrine by its bluish-gray wings and tail with a dark brown back and head. It has black bars on its white or yellowish-white belly. Sometimes you'll notice a tear-shaped mark on its cheeks. This mark helps reduce glare from strong sunlight, especially in regions with intense sunlight. Its snowy white chin and neck are encircled by a vivid yellow ring around each eye, complemented by a heavy bill, also yellow and tipped black. The upper beak has a small notch near the end. This helps the bird to quickly catch and kill its prey by severing the spinal column at the neck. Adult peregrine falcons have a wingspan of up to 3.5 feet. They have dark brown bars on their white chest that can be seen when their wings are spread out. Their long, tapered wings boast a straight trailing edge during flight, while the tail, relatively long, measures between 5.1 to 7.5 inches. The adult's back and long pointed wings typically range from bluish-black to slate gray with subtle black wingtips. Male and female peregrines look similar, but females are much bigger, about 30% larger than males. In most subspecies, males weigh less than 25 ounces, while females can weigh up to 28 ounces, with instances of females weighing approximately 50% more than their male breeding partners not uncommon. Habitat. Ever wonder where you can find these magnificent birds of prey? Peregrine falcons inhabit almost every continent except Antarctica and many small islands in the oceans. They are highly adaptable creatures, but Antarctica's extreme weather conditions make it challenging for them to find enough food to sustain their young. Peregrines that breed in Arctic regions often migrate long distances during the winter months. Typically, you'll find peregrines residing in diverse habitats such as mountain ranges, river valleys, and coastlines where bird populations are abundant. They prefer nesting spots along coastal and inland cliffs or open woodlands near water sources. Interestingly, some peregrines even make their nests on tall buildings in cities or use nests built by other bird species in trees. While the peregrine falcon is found in many regions around the world, it is not abundant in any specific area due to its position at the apex of the food chain. They rely on a strong bird population below them for food, and their hunting prowess means they're not found in large numbers in any specific region. However, they need particular nesting spots like cliffs or tall buildings, which can be rare in some places. These remarkable birds are also known for their long-distance travel, sometimes even crossing continents, as they move between their wintering and breeding grounds. North American peregrines offer a great example of this diversity. While some groups stay put year-round in places like Alaska, the Midwest, the Northeast, the Southwest, or along the western coastline, others are true adventurers. Peregrine falcons breeding in the far north undertake remarkable migrations spanning an astonishing round trip of 15,500 miles. This exceeds by 3,000 miles the distance between the Earth's north and south poles that a peregrine falcon could traverse. Hunting. Peregrine falcons aren't just known for their ability to travel long distances, but also for their incredible hunting skills and astonishing speed. They are masterful hunters, setting impressive records with their speed. With their robust physique and remarkable swiftness, they employ a hunting technique that involves soaring high and then rapidly diving down toward their prey. During this dive, known as a stoop, they fold back their tail and wings with their feet tucked close. Their prey is usually seized mid-air as the peregrine strikes with talons clenched, reaching incredible speeds of over 200 miles per hour. Upon impact, they swiftly catch their prey and, if necessary, drop it to the ground for consumption. Even if the initial strike is missed, peregrines display remarkable agility in chasing their prey through twisting flights. Peregrine falcons primarily hunt during dawn and dusk when their prey is most active. They may even hunt nocturnally in urban environments, especially during migration periods. These skilled hunters require open spaces for hunting, often scanning over water bodies, marshlands, valleys, fields, and tundra from high perches or in flight. Sometimes pairs of peregrines cooperate in hunting, with one member disrupting a flock of birds while the other targets a specific individual. This cooperative behavior is commonly observed during the breeding season. The peregrine falcon has a diverse diet, preying on small to medium-sized birds as well as rabbits and other mammals active during the day. They have a broad appetite, estimated to include between 1,500 to 2,000 bird species worldwide, which is roughly 1/5 of all bird species. These falcons are known to target a wide range of birds, from large ones like sandhill cranes to tiny hummingbirds. Their prey selection encompasses various species such as shorebirds, ducks, grebes, gulls, pigeons, and songbirds. In addition to birds, peregrine falcons also include bats in their diet, and they occasionally pilfer prey like fish and rodents from other birds of prey. Their adaptability and predatory prowess make them formidable hunters across a vast array of habitats and ecosystems. Speed. So, what sets these birds apart as the undisputed fastest in the world? Well, in flight, they usually maintain normal speeds ranging between 40 to 60 miles per hour. However, it's when they dive to catch prey that they unleash their super speed, reaching mind-blowing velocities. This remarkable ability not only makes them the fastest bird in the world, but also the fastest animal on the planet. The highest measured speed of a peregrine falcon is 242 miles per hour. This is a feat that even the mighty golden eagle can't compete with. Even the strong golden eagle can't match that speed, as it can only fly at around 150 miles per hour, which is still impressive, but notably slower than that of the peregrine falcon. What makes the peregrine falcon such a deadly predator? It's all in their special features. They have a large keel, which means more muscle power for flapping and generating speed. Their pointed wings are swept back, helping them maintain their streamlined shape and reach those mind-boggling speeds. Not just that, their feathers are slim and stiff, reducing any drag that could slow them down. They are finely tuned speed machines, making them one of nature's most fearsome hunters. While flying fast is exhilarating, how does the peregrine falcon manage to breathe at such extraordinary velocities? While other birds might have trouble breathing even at half the speed, this awesome bird has no problem keeping up its breathing even when it's flying over 200 miles per hour. It's all thanks to its remarkably efficient respiratory and circulatory systems. For humans, such speeds would be a lung-straining nightmare. The rushing air would feel like a forceful blow to the diaphragm, rendering inhalation nearly impossible. Muscles would cramp from lack of oxygen, and loss of consciousness would likely occur before reaching the 200-mile-per-hour mark. Yet the peregrine falcon is uniquely adapted. The intense pressure during a dive could potentially harm a bird's lungs. However, small, bony tubercles on a falcon's nostrils are believed to redirect the powerful airflow away, easing breathing by minimizing changes in air pressure. This, coupled with a one-way airflow system into its lungs, enables the peregrine falcon to breathe effortlessly even in high-speed dives. Additionally, air sacs keep the lungs inflated during exhalation. To safeguard its eyes during rapid descents, the peregrine falcon employs nictating membranes, acting as third eyelids to clear debris and spread tears while maintaining vision. Moreover, its robust heart beats between 600 and 900 times per minute, facilitating rapid oxygen distribution throughout its body and preventing quick fatigue. This incredible heart rate also allows the peregrine falcon to flap its wings up to 4 times per second, contributing further to its remarkable speed. Decline and conservation. Despite their amazing ability to fly at astonishing speeds, peregrine falcons have faced a tumultuous past. In the 1950s, peregrine falcon populations worldwide experienced a sharp decline, sending alarm bells ringing throughout conservation circles. The culprit behind this decline? A widely used pesticide known as dichlororodiphenyltrichloroethane, DDT. During this era, DDT was liberally sprayed on farmlands, inadvertently infiltrating the food chain. As top predators, peregrine falcons absorbed significant quantities of DDT from their prey, including fish and other birds. The accumulation of DDT had dire consequences, disrupting the falcon's calcium metabolism and resulting in the production of eggs with unnaturally thin shells, incapable of withstanding the weight of the parent birds. Consequently, the reproductive success of peregrine falcons plummeted, pushing them perilously close to extinction. In response to this crisis, Canada took the proactive step of banning DDT use in 1969, followed by the United States in 1972. Concurrently, rigorous captive breeding and reintroduction programs were launched in both countries. Over the ensuing 3 decades, more than 6,000 captive-bred progeny were released into the wild. Miraculously, North American populations of peregrine falcons staged a remarkable recovery, with their numbers rebounding to pre-crisis levels. By 1999, the peregrine falcon was no longer classified as endangered, marking a significant conservation success story. In recognition of this achievement, the International Union for Conservation of Nature, IUCN, downgraded the status of the peregrine falcon to that of a species of least concern in 2015. Today, populations of these majestic birds have rebounded across much of their range, with sightings of peregrine falcons soaring gracefully through the skies becoming increasingly common in regions around the world. California Condor, the Thunderbird, the Wild West, home to scintillating sun, gorgeous sandy beaches, and the bright lights of Tinseltown. California is also home to a fairly diverse ecosystem, filled with several extraordinary animals playing various roles in the circle of life. Circling high above the rest is a majestic bird of prey that forms part of the region's organic cleanup crew. The California Condor, aka the Thunderbird, is one of nature's most efficient garbage disposal systems, but its own odds of long-term survival are down in the dumps. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the following video as we examine this important species in detail and show you all there is to know about the California Condor. What exactly is a California Condor? The California Condor is a large bird of prey native to, you guessed it, California. It's important to note that bird of prey is derived from its taxonomic classification rather than the condor's actual behavior. In reality, it is a full-time scavenger of anything with flesh and even your trash can. Ornithologists refer to this awesome bird as Gymnogyps californianus, which seems a bit harsh because the condor is pretty nice when it's not tearing through flesh with its cleaving beak. The California condor is one of two condors found in the Americas today. The other is South America's Andean condor, Vulture gryphus, the largest bird of prey in the world by weight and wingspan. Both condors, along with 5 American vulture species, form the family Cathartidae, which is more commonly called New World vultures. Vultures from Africa and Eurasia are known as Old World vultures and are classified under the family name Acciptridae. Despite being known as condors, the Californian and Andean birds do not belong to the same genus and therefore are not as closely related as their names and geographical proximity would suggest. Gymnogyps, the California condor's genus, used to have at least 5 species, but only Californianus remains to tell tales of that, and barely. In fact, even the California condor is technically extinct. Its natural run as a wild animal ended with the capture of the last wild condor in 1987. Luckily, conservation efforts were in full swing by then, and this great symbolic bird has been steadily reintroduced to the wild skies of its ancestors. Speaking of symbolism, the condor was long regarded as sacred or culturally significant to several Native American tribes like the Wyandotte, Pomo, and Chumash. Some tribes hailed it as akin to a deity, playing a central role in the recreation of man after a great flood. Others regarded it in the opposite light, as a bad omen, curse, or even the embodiment of the angel of death. However, the Hollywood condor's most famous legend is its ability to form thunder when it flaps its wings. For many native tribes, the sight of the thunderbird in flight was an omen promising life-giving rain and all-around prosperity. Most of those tribes don't exist anymore, so the prosperity angle is questionable. However, California is one of the richest states in the U.S. today, so maybe the condor delivered. In modern times, the condor has been celebrated by being put on state currency and being made the mascot of a few sports teams. The Bakersfield Condors, an American Hockey League team from Bakersfield, California, are a prominent example. Science has also identified the condor's important role in helping the circle of life tick on smoothly. They help break down flesh that would otherwise rot slowly and expose nasty bacteria to the ecosystem. This ecological function and historical significance are why scientists and the greater community are pulling out all the stops to save this critically endangered creature. Appearance. The California condor sits comfortably among the largest birds in the world. Interestingly, males of the species are larger than females. While this is the standard for many animals, this is quite rare for birds of prey. Adult condors have a body length range of 43 to 55 inches and an incredible wingspan range of 8 feet 2 inches to 9 feet 10 inches. The condor's wingspan is the 4th widest among birds of prey and the 14th widest among all birds. 10-foot-plus wingspans have been reported in the past, but these claims have never been verified. Weight ranges from 15 to 31 pounds, subject to sex, age, diet, and level of activity. Captive birds with less activity may grow heavier than their wild cousins, However, the general average for wild condors is 18 to 20 pounds. These dimensions and weight make the California condor the largest land bird in North America and the third largest North American bird behind the trumpeter swan and mute swan. Some ornithologists believe the condor is the bird behind the popular phrase, "Is it a bird or is it a plane?" After all, a steady soaring condor kind of resembles a small aircraft from a distance. When fully grown, condors are covered in jet black feathers from shoulder to tail. Think Grim Reaper with the hoodie down. This dark outfit was probably part of the whole Angel of Death thing some Native Americans were wary of. Well, that and a relentless pursuit of dead flesh. Only when the condor takes flight does it reveal narrow triangular strips of white feathers on the inside of its great wings. Like most vultures, its head is completely bald, revealing its grayish skin and colored dome. The condor's head can range from a pale yellow to a reddish orange, and the skin can go flush with emotion. Most of the beak takes on the coloring of the head, but the tip is usually white or ivory. Vultures tend to have bald heads for hygienic reasons. Because their feeding style is essentially diving headfirst into rotting flesh, a feathered head would trap gore and bacteria and potentially block or infect sensory organs like the ears and eyes. A clean-shaven dome reduces this risk greatly. The condor's feet are also naked. The toes are flat with straight and blunt talons, a trait largely unique to vultures. Most other birds of prey have sharp curved talons and specialized hind toes to aid with gripping prey during the hunt. Vultures like our condor don't do much hunting or killing themselves, so their feet have evolved for walking to something someone else has already hunted. The condor's feet may appear paler than its head because of another hygienic adaptation. Condors routinely urinate on their feet to wash away the grime they step in when feeding. The acidity of this waste basically bleaches the bird's feet over time. Condor chicks are covered in fluffy gray down until they are almost as big as their parents. Where do they live? Prehistorically, California condors were abundant all over North America, with fossil evidence being dug up from southern Florida to Canada. However, the end of the last ice age, about 12,000 years ago, marked a drastic reduction in animal life on the continent. As more and more big animals died off, the condor's food source shrunk until it was eventually squeezed towards the western edges of the continent. Historically, the greatest numbers of Cali condors have lived on the west coast of the U.S., the southwest, and northern Mexico. Your best bet for seeing a condor up close would be in captivity. The San Diego Zoo is the world leader when it comes to captive breeding for reintroduction to the wild. If you want to see them in the wild, we recommend rural California, Utah, and Arizona. California's Los Padres National Forest is home to two of the world's leading condor sanctuaries, Césped Condor Sanctuary and Ciscac Condor Sanctuary. In Mexico, you can go to Sierra de San Pedro Martir National Park in the state of Baja California. Like most of your favorite celebrities, Hollywood condors generally prefer a quiet private life away from prying eyes. Their habitats are typically found in rocky forests and oakery plains. Large trees like oaks and pine trees are common sites for nesting pairs, but the birds will also set up on cliffs and small caves along cliffs. The two aforementioned California sanctuaries were set up there specifically because the natural real estate is condor heaven. California condors are territorial birds rather than migratory. They do migrate if an area gets too crowded or if food becomes scarce. A single bird can have an immense range that allows it to travel well over 100 miles in search of food. Exact territory sizes are unknown, but the two California condor sanctuaries cover a total of 250,380 acres. The state of California also granted a further 316,050 acres for condor conservation back in 1992. Though condors have individual territories, they routinely overlap because of food and nesting sites. As such, they have social hierarchies based on age, physical size, and other unspoken qualities. When congregated around food, dominant birds issue audible hisses and grunting sounds to assert their place in the food chain. Smaller and younger birds wait their turn. Reproduction and life cycle. Condors are notoriously slow breeders, a common trait among large vultures. The birds reach sexual maturity around 6 years of age. A male will perform a classic song and dance to woo a girl, hoping to win her heart with his flushed red head and pronounced neck feathers. If he succeeds, the pair will mate for life. Condor pairs are highly collaborative and will take turns incubating eggs and feeding young. After a 2-month gestation period, the female lays a single bluish-white egg. If an egg is lost, the female can lay a replacement egg. This replacement trick has proven invaluable to breeders and conservation efforts as a whole. Chicks are wholly dependent on both parents for the first 6 months of life. The parents feed and protect the young from predation. Generally, other birds of prey are the main threat to condor chicks. Black bears will also raid for eggs and chicks if the nest is within reach. Chicks begin flying at 6 months, but continue to live and forage for food with their parents until they are about 2 years old. Only then will the parents mate again and build a new nest. A condor can live a very long life, with an average lifespan of about 50 years in captivity. Endangerment and conservation. The IUCN lists the California condor as critically endangered. It is believed that there are under 600 individuals in the world, with about half being in captivity. This makes the thunderbird an exceptional rarity, and seeing one in the wild is even rarer still. Various reasons have been attributed to the bird's decline, from outright hunting and loss of habitat to indirect poisoning and collision with electric lines. Whatever the exact reason, it's clear that human activity is the main cause. Fortunately, conservation efforts began just in time. In 1992, the U.S. federal government issued the Los Padres Condor Range and River Protection Act, which barred hunting and set swaths of land aside for condor sanctuaries and reintroduction sites. To date, efforts in line with the act have cost over $35 million, making the condor one of the most expensive endangered animals. Reintroduction efforts are ongoing in several U.S. states and Mexico with promising signs. The condor's slow reproduction rates and continued urban expansion present major stumbling blocks, but at least this special bird finally seems to have a future to look forward to.
Philippine eagle, the monkey-eating eagle. Birds and primates have had a turbulent relationship since the first time they met on Earth. They tried to eat us when we were small apes, and we avenge our ancestors daily by eating eggs and wings. Not a very blissful situation, right? This is WildFacts, and today we will try to look into the secret life of the great Philippine eagle, an extremely cute bird who is not so great to our monkey relatives because, it eats them. Before we fall into the trap of the Philippine eagle's charisma, it's an excellent time to click the subscribe button and ring the bell to get all the notifications about new, awesome videos about nature. Our journey only started now, so make sure that you hopped on a train right now when everything exciting has yet to come. And now, let's learn what this eagle can offer us, and why it is one of the best creatures on this small space rock we are living on. The evolutionary path and origins of the Philippine eagle. Its Latin name, Pithecopaga jeffrey, the Philippine eagle, has got after the father of the scientist who was first to introduce the eagle to the world outside of the Philippines. This scientist was a naturalist, John Whitehead, who in 1986 got the first specimen for his servant Juan, a man who really caught the bird. It is a shame that the man's name is not a part of the discovery, but it was the 19th century, At first, our sweet bird was called a monkey-eating eagle because of its habit, eating monkeys. That's why it got the name Pithecopaga, from Greek words pithecus and phagos, which together translates like monkey eater. This eagle is pretty unique, and before DNA reconstructions, it was believed that the birds were relatives of Harpy eagles from South America and African crowned eagles. But thorough DNA tests showed that the species, though related to those birds, was not close enough to be considered one family. Apparently, Philippine eagles have much more in common with snake eagles, more petite, but still cute birds. This eagle has big significance in Philippine culture. It has been its national bird since 1995, and many people come to the Philippines just to see this bird in its natural habitat. Speaking of it, where do you live, our dear Philippine eagle? Well, it's pretty obvious that the Philippine eagle must have been named after its home place, and not just because John Whitehead liked the Philippines so much that he gave a New Zealand bird that name. Of course not, but it would be funny, I must say. The Philippine eagle is a country's endemic species, and you can meet it only on Mindanao, Leyte, Samar, and Luzon Islands. Most birds prefer Mindanao Island, but it is very hard to meet the shy bird in the wilderness, even there. The birds prefer humid rainforest in the mountains, particularly in steep areas where they can lead their secluded lives. They really try to be as far away from people as it is possible, but we just can't get over these birds. Earlier, the Philippine eagle was a really popular target for exotic bird lovers and people who collected taxidermy dummies. But since this poor species is in real danger of extinction nowadays, the Philippine government issued a law forbidding hunting on a country's national bird, and if you break it, you can go to jail for up to 12 years. Of course, the birds don't know about this fact, but since we primates do, it's Philippine eagles. 1, primates of the world, 0. Mirror, mirror on the wall, does eagle look the best of all? The Philippine eagle is a pretty colorful bird if you consider brown to be a bright color. It has beautiful brown feathers all over the spine and wings, a white chest, and a dark brown face. On the head, the bird has a crown with white and brown feathers that make this eagle very recognizable. I bet it feels like a rock star of the bird world. Little Philippine eagles have a similar appearance to adults, but they do not have pale fringes on some part of their bodies. The Philippine eagle doesn't display really distinctive sexual dimorphism, but lady eagles are usually a little bit bigger than their male counterparts. As for length, the typical specimen can measure about 3 feet 4 inches, 103 centimeters on average. Females can be even longer than that, and one lady had a length of 3 feet 8 inches, 112 centimeters, which is absolutely incredible, but most likely is not a good representation of a real-life bird, since in the wilderness, these birds probably don't have so much food regularly, like in captivity. As for the weight, on average, female birds can weigh about 13 pounds, 6 kilograms, and males about 9.9 pounds, 4.5 kilograms. Some specimens can reach up to 17.6 pounds, 8 kilograms, but it is the maximum for this mighty bird. The magnificent muscular body of the Philippine eagle ends with strong legs with huge yellow claws strong enough to kidnap you and eat you if you were a small forest monk. Such a long bird can't have an unimpressive wingspan, right? And sure, its wingspan is very big and measures up to 7 feet 3 inches, 220 centimeters. Overall, the Philippines eagle is the longest eagle that exists now, and it is second only to the legendary Haast's eagle. I would also love to mention that every Philippine eagle in the world loves love. They mate for life, and when one in the pair dies, well, another one will look for a new forever girlfriend. The pair creates a nest from sticks and feathers, and a female lays 1 egg during the breeding season. After the sexual period in the eagle's pair ends, they continue living together for the rest of their lives, which on average is about 30 to 40 years. What's for lunch for the Philippines eagle? Well, you don't get the name monkey-eating eagle for no reason, right? Yes, our dear friend was considered for the longest time to be a monkey-eating bird, and only that. Now we know that the Philippine eagle's diet is far more diverse, and it likes to feast on other birds, lemurs, rats, bats, squirrels, and even Philippine deer, which is very small, but still, it's a deer. As for our friends monkeys, these eagles eat 2 native to the country primate species, Philippine and common long-tailed macaw. These poor primates are small enough for eagles to catch them, and once they're in the bird's claws, we have to say bye-bye monkey. The Philippine eagle is an apex predator and has 2 different but equally interesting hunting techniques. It can sit on a branch, watch out for the prey from a distance, and attack it when a poor animal doesn't even know what got on her. The second technique is perch hunting, when a bird glides from one branch to another looking for someone to eat. Almost every time, eagles hunt alone, but sometimes the pairs can hunt together for several monkeys cooperatively. But since one parent is usually protecting babies and the pair's nests, it rarely happens. Can I hear thank God from long-tailed macaws? The Philippine eagle and humans. As I already mentioned before, people are a pain in the feathers of our sweet Philippine eagles. We destroy their natural habitat, build everything near the forest where these poor birds live, and just can't leave these lovely creatures alone. But even though killing the Philippine eagle can cost you your freedom, some hunters still do that, and since the birds are not so great in fast procreating, it is believed that not more than 500 specimens now exist in the wilderness. The sad truth is, this number can be even lower. Many international funds and BirdLife International try to help save this critically endangered species. They try to breed them in captivity and make a huge effort to help keep the natural habitat of these gorgeous birds as close to nature as it is possible. These steps have shown results, and over the decades of protection, the bird's population started to slowly grow. The future looks bright to the Philippine eagle, and I'm sure that we will soon see it in the list of the least concerned species. Secretary bird, the bird that can kill any snake. Did you ever meet a bird that both looks very cool, elegant, and is a fierce snake killer? Then let's meet the one and only magnificent secretary bird. This is WildFacts, and today we will join the adventure of our lifetime and travel to Africa to meet the most adorable bird that only looks innocent. Inside the secretary bird's chest, a heart of a fierce warrior is living. But before we begin exploring all about this fascinating creature's life, I suggest you subscribe to this channel if you love learning about the most amazing beast on this crazy blue planet. So without further ado, let's explore the lives and lies of this fearless African assassin, Secretary Bird. I bet you really want to know why the bird has such an unusual name. Yes, I will reveal this dark secret, but first, let's learn where this bird comes from. The Latin name of the secretary bird, Sagittarius serpentarius, means archer and snakes, so it is obvious that these raptors mostly aim for serpents for food. You may also know that the word Sagittarius is the name of one of the zodiac signs. So does that mean that all secretary birds are born from mid-November to mid-December? Unfortunately, no, but it would be a fun coincidence. This interesting name the bird got in 1783 by the French naturalist Johann Hermann, and many other scientists tried to change it to bring it closer to scientific naming. But since Hermann's was the first, it stuck with people. What's funny is that Hermann wasn't actually a person who introduced the creature to a new world. The bird was first described by Armand Vosmer, a Dutch naturalist, back in 1769. As for its evolution, scientists were puzzled by the secretary bird's evolutionary path for the longest time. Now we know that this bird is the only species of its family, Sagittaridae, and it is part of the Falconiformes order. So this bird of prey is related to hawks, falcons, and other raptors. And finally, let's talk about this non-Latin, aka human name of the secretary bird. It is believed that our dear friend got this name thanks to the beautiful long black feathers it has on its head that look just like secretary quill pens. Since this bird is also tall and has a very elegant appearance, it is understandable why people consider these raptors similar to human secretaries. We are an amazing species that tries to find similarities everywhere, don't we? The office space of the secretary bird. As I mentioned, our sweet, sometimes flying friend is an African endemic. Particularly, it lives in a sub-Saharan Africa. So you know that this bird definitely likes its home space hot, but not too hot, because they rarely can be met in the hottest regions, and never in deserts. The bird prefers savannas and grasslands, where it can stand tall and look around freely for the prey. Secretary birds are not afraid of heights and can live at elevations. However, they still prefer picking homes in places with a lot of free space. They do not appreciate tall grass, and usually you can meet them only in places with grass growing under 2 feet, 0.5 meters. In this long grass, the birds can walk freely and look around for their prey. The species has the longest legs among all raptors, and it can successfully crouch the legs when the bird needs it. Scientists say that the secretary bird can walk up to 18 miles, 30 kilometers, a day in search of food. Well, that's what I call dedication. I usually always opt to a delivery, even if the place is a few blocks from me. When it is time to make sweet loving, the birds create huge nests, about 4.9 feet, 1.5 meters in diameter on trees from grass, sticks, and feathers. It will be a home for future little ones, but the birds seem not to be too attached to their nests. When they are ruined, secretary birds just build a new one, forgetting about the old crib. Secretary birds do not migrate like other birds, but sometimes they can move from one African country to another if they are bored, but mostly because of the changes in their habitat, or there's not enough prey for them to live on. The impeccable appearance of the secretary bird. Our sub-Saharan friends are definitely the hotties of the hottest continent. They are tall, neat, and look like they have some important news to tell you about. It is a very large terrestrial bird with a head taken from an eagle and legs taken from a crane. It is mostly covered with very nice white feathers with grayish undertones, but the tail and wings are black, giving the creature a more sophisticated look. You can recognize the secretary bird not just by its nice suit, but also by its colorful face. It is usually orange, red, or yellow. And of course, the most exciting part of this excellent bird is its crown. It does look like the secretary bird just put these quills behind imaginary ears and now walking around thinking about the things it wrote. Maybe it does, but we will never know. Unfortunately, people can't talk to birds, at least yet. The magnificent body of this bird ends with long pinkish legs with strong feet that are unfortunately not strong enough to grasp something with them. That's why the secretary bird rarely flies, and only when they really need it. Now, let's move to the size. Male and females are not all that different, and you can't really tell whether it is a lady secretary or a gentleman until you look closer. Most secretary birds can grow to be about 4.2 feet, 1.3 meters on average, and weigh about 9 pounds, 4.10 kilograms. As for the length of the bird's bodies, they usually grow to be about 4.9 feet, 1.5 meters long, which makes them the tallest and longest raptors in the world. Quite an accomplishment. Love season for the secretary bird. Like many other birds of prey, secretary birds usually do not enjoy each other's company, other than the significant others. However, sometimes you can meet a small group of up to 5 birds hanging around together. Secretary birds mate for life, and they create nests together to have kids, as I mentioned before. They do not live in these nests after the children are old enough to look for their own path in life, and the pair usually just roams around in search of food, keeping each other in sight. The birds can mate all year round, but the most significant loving season for them is August to September. Secretary birds have 1 to 3 eggs in a clutch, and since little secretaries have many enemies, usually only one survives to adulthood. Little ones look really similar to their parents, but their black hair is more brownish. So as we learned, secretary birds have blissful, full of love lives, and in the wilderness, they can enjoy it for about 10 to 15 years. In captivity, some specimens survive to celebrate their 20-year jubilee. So maybe fresh air and a lot of physical activity these raptors enjoy in the wilderness is not so good for them at the end of the day. Secretary birds and snakes, turmoil relationship with a spice. As a human, I am pretty indifferent to snakes. I don't love them, but I do not hate them either. However, secretary birds seem to be having a true love-hate relationship with snakes. They hate them so much that they kill them to feel the taste they love. When a secretary bird sees a snake, it tries to hit it with a beak to immobilize or kill on the spot. If it works, then a pair, since these birds usually hunt together, enjoy the snack and move on to the next prey. Secretary birds are truly tireless. They hunt from sunrise and until the evening. However, snakes are not losers of the animal world too, so they really try to bite the dangerous killing bird too. Save their lives. It sometimes works since secretary birds are not as great with dealing with poison as our lovely friends, honey badgers. Have you ever seen my take on a glorious honey badger? Right after this video, I suggest you explore one of the most interesting terrestrial creatures with dozens of superpowers and an extremely cute appearance. The link will be in the description. Now, back to secretary birds. So, to avoid death from poison, secretary birds try to stick a snake's mouth with their wing feathers, and when the snake is confused, and with a mouthful of feathers, here a secretary bird reveals its secret weapon, a killer kick. This killer kick is so powerful that some people even call the secretary bird a natural-born ninja. Not such a bad side job for a secretary, don't you think? A single powerful kick can deliver about 195 newtons of force, equivalent to about 45 pounds, 20 kilograms, falling on a poor snake's head. It is absolutely impressive. As for the other items on the bird's menu, they usually eat other small reptiles, mammals, even insects if they want to, but snakes will always be their favorite, like sushi to me. The bird and people. Adult birds don't really have enemies, except for people, of course. Even though the distribution of secretary birds is quite large around Africa, in 2020, it was stated that the species now has an endangered status, and the number of secretary birds dramatically decreases year after year. Unfortunately, as always, humans are the problem here because we intrude into the bird's natural habitat, change it, and leave them with no other choice but to die. And that's sad. However, we really try to save the secretary bird in the wilderness to allow future generations to watch and admire these amazing creatures.
Look up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's a bird. Well, technically, it's a Corygypsotratus, aka the black vulture or Mexican vulture, a creature of many names in many languages, but with an almost universal meaning: bad news. Join us as we take a look at this ancient raptor and its associated nature as we attempt to separate fact from myth surrounding the brutal reputation of the black vulture. As stated before, black vultures go by several names, be it in English, Spanish, Latin, and even long-dead native tongues. Ornithologists refer to them as atratus, of the genus Corachips, under the Cathartidae or New World vultures family. Interestingly enough, this family classification makes black vultures closer to condors than to the famous white-backed vulture from Africa. The latter bird belongs to the family Accipitridae, or Old World vultures. However, the black, white-backed, and indeed all vulture species have the shared mantle of grisly obituaries written in the skies of either world. Whether you're an ancient Mayan hunter in Central America or a spotted hyena on the prowl for easy pickings, vultures in the sky usually mean the recent or impending doom of some poor soul. While most other vulture species are patient enough to wait for a meal to succumb to hunger, thirst, disease, or other predators, the black vulture has been known to help speed up the process. Heck, even perfectly healthy creatures might find themselves at the wrong end of its nasty talons. With a face only a mother could love, the black vulture is far from the prettiest predatory bird. What you see is what you get, and what you see is death. With its trademark hooked beak and featherless head, the black vulture is one of nature's most efficient waste disposal systems, stripping away rotting flesh from carcasses and harvesting precious carrion. The bird's mighty 4.2 to 5.5 foot wingspan allows it to soar to heights of well over 10,000 feet. However, black vultures' food-finding missions are better served by flying at lower altitudes and keeping their powerful eyes peeled. Most vultures are highly unlikely to snipe smaller birds by swooping down from higher altitudes, like some falcons or eagles. Therefore, they concentrate their efforts on ground-based meals. As their New World status suggests, these birds reside exclusively in the Americas, favoring warmer climes throughout the southern United States all the way down to northern Chile and Argentina. They are highly adaptable creatures and can dwell in different lowland environments, including plains, sparse woodlands, and even swamps. Migration is extremely rare, though not unheard of if conditions like feeding and nesting grounds change drastically. The most defining characteristic in adults is black feathers, though chicks are a lightish brown before developing mature plumage. Black vultures typically have 2 chicks every year, with eggs and young raised in a wide range of environments. Black vulture parents eat their fill and store excess food in an organ known as a crop. When the parent gets back to the nest, they regurgitate the crop food for their young to eat. This is a full-time job for the adults, as chicks require food 20 times a day, every day. As for young black vultures, the early days of life are the most dangerous. Predation, parental abandonment, and falling out of an elevated nest are some of the risks a baby vulture faces. However, if all is successful, black vulture chicks should take flight within 14 weeks of hatching. There is no set period for full independence, as chicks can keep returning to the nest for more crop juice for months after mastering flight. While sightings of solitary individuals are fairly common, black vultures tend to favor collaboration during roosting and finding food. They will roost among themselves in trees or even man-made structures like power lines and old buildings. When it comes to finding food, they utilize the scouting prowess of other black vultures and even other vulture species. One such unwitting ally is the turkey vulture, Cathartes aura, another common New World Cathartidae member. Not only do turkey vultures share the black vulture's superb eyesight, but they are also blessed with an incredible sense of smell that far exceeds their cousins. However, what black vultures lack in olfactory senses, they make up for with intelligence by keeping track of turkey vulture activities. If the latter sniffs out a potential meal, black vultures are rarely far behind. While their reputation as death birds precedes them, black vultures and their cousins are fairly misunderstood. Their form of scavenging plays an important role in both natural and human-influenced ecosystems. Dead carcasses, if left unattended, can facilitate the spread of diseases to animals and even humans. Black vultures' bald head, stomach acids, and urine help them minimize diseases. For example, when vultures urinate, the uric acid in the waste washes down their legs and eliminates bacteria picked up from carcasses. Their bald head prevents flesh, blood, and other gunk from sticking to their bodies, which prevents disease spread later on. What makes black vultures so aggressive? They will kill. Though black vultures exhibit classic scavenger traits, they have a reputation for extra aggression when compared to other vulture species. This is because they do not strictly stick to the scavenger role. When needs must, or when a golden opportunity presents itself, the black vulture won't hesitate to earn its place among the birds of prey. Defenseless animals such as newborn livestock and pets can easily find themselves hounded by a ravenous flock of black vultures. The same goes for lizards, other birds' chicks, turtles, and even beached fish. Luckily, there are no recorded reports of black vultures attacking and killing humans. Livestock animals like calves, lambs, and goat kids can be pushed towards an early grave by the vultures, who target vital spots like the eyes, mouth, and arteries with their flesh-tearing beaks. Puppies, kittens, deer fawns, piglets, and baby rabbits would also make adorable snacks for this feathered angel of death. Farmers all over the Americas have a first-hand account of this predatory behavior and how it affects their animals and ultimately their livelihoods. They will fight. A carcass sight is often a wild fracas by the time vultures arrive on the scene. This is especially true in cases where the carcass has been devoured by larger predators. As such, every remaining morsel of meat is a precious cause for conflict, with aggression often separating the fed from the starving. Black vultures seem to understand this fact better than most, and so employ their mean streak to jostle through the chaos for the extra bit of carrion. They will spread their considerable wings to intimidate other birds. If that fails, they will perform a little dominance dance to communicate their authority over rivals. If posturing and dancing don't do the trick, the black vulture may resort to violence. The birds will use their talons to physically drive away other vultures and make room for eating. They are adaptable. In a world of ever-shrinking wildlands, black vultures have displayed impressive intelligence, resilience, and flexibility to retain their domain in the air. Whether it be changing dwellings or moving on to new food sources, black vultures look to have taken Darwin's survival of the fittest mantra to heart. This leads us to the next point. They are not afraid of humans. Most wild animals tend to stay well clear of humans and human settlements, which is generally wise. However, black vultures are a smart and curious bunch who would rather investigate things first. The birds understand that humans come with a multitude of ways to obtain food. From livestock and pets to certain fruits and even our garbage, humans inadvertently offer an endless buffet for scavengers. Their bold nature allows them to get extremely close to people's homes, which makes them even more comfortable around us with time. Add their non-migratory behavior to this, and you might find yourself with a permanent neighbor who keeps pushing boundaries. Even attempts to shoo them away only yield temporary results. And shooing is just about the only thing you can do to black vultures, especially in the United States. This is because the birds are protected by the Migratory Bird Treaty Act of 1918, which is quite ironic given that black vultures do not migrate. Violating this federal law by killing or injuring these birds could earn you fines of more than $10,000 or considerable jail time. They have numbers. Strength in numbers is a major source of confidence in many creatures, including humans. Concepts such as groupthink are not just limited to people who would never behave in a certain way while alone. Vultures in a flock of 50 or 100 strong are more likely to take bolder actions than individuals. Risks like approaching human dump sites and even attacking a newborn calf on a farm will more than likely require the encouragement of a few friends. As one of the most populous vulture species, the black vulture has no shortage of friends to help it find trouble. Golden Eagle, the true king of Northern Hemisphere. For millennia, Native American tribes have whispered tales of the Thunderbird, a feathered deity cloaked in golden light. Today, we call it the Golden Eagle, but the reverence remains. That's why, in today's video, we'll be talking about the Golden Eagle and how it came to be known as the true king of the North American skies. History, cultural significance, and location. The Golden Eagle has left an enduring mark on human history and cultural symbolism. Tribes such as the Plains Indians viewed the eagle as a sacred symbol, embodying divine spirits and acting as a conduit between the earthly and spiritual realms. The bird's feathers were often incorporated into religious ceremonies and rituals, symbolizing a connection to the ethereal. In medieval Europe, the golden eagle found itself enshrined in the intricate world of heraldry. A symbol of nobility and strength, this magnificent bird adorned the coats of arms of rulers and knights alike. Its presence in heraldic imagery conveyed a sense of regality and prowess, often harkening back to the grandeur of the Roman Empire and the Holy Roman Empire. The cultural significance of the golden eagle extends beyond the confines of Europe and North America. In the vast expanses of Mongolia, a unique tradition has evolved around this raptor. The Kazakh people, nomadic inhabitants of the Mongolian steppes, have cultivated a deep connection with the golden eagles through the art of falconry. Moving on to the habitat preferences of the golden eagle, we find a species surprisingly adaptable to diverse landscapes. Mountainous regions are favored, where cliffs and rocky ledges provide ideal nesting sites. The eagle's ability to effortlessly navigate the high altitudes allows it to spot prey and assert dominance over its territory. Open country, encompassing grasslands, deserts, and tundra, also serves as a favored habitat. While not strictly confined to wooded areas, golden eagles can be found in landscapes interspersed with trees. These wooded enclaves offer shelter and potential nesting sites, complementing the bird's adaptable nature. Though they shy away from dense forests, golden eagles have demonstrated an ability to thrive in environments where open spaces coexist with pockets of vegetation. Their adaptability, combined with a capacity to cover large territories, positions them as essential components of the ecosystems they inhabit. Physical appearance. The golden eagle belongs to a larger category of raptors known as booted eagles. This distinct feature is that all species within the booted eagle group have feathering covering their tarsus. The tarsus is the part of the leg between the knee and the ankle. This feature provides them with a feathered appearance on their lower legs, resembling boots. This feathering over the tarsus serves various purposes. One key function is insulation, helping to regulate the eagle's body temperature, especially in colder environments. The feathers on the legs also offer protection, acting as a shield against potential injuries and providing an additional layer of defense during hunting and territorial disputes. Moving on, the golden eagle is renowned for its formidable size, measuring between 66 to 102 centimeters, 26 to 40 inches in length. Characterized by broad wings, its wingspan spans from 1.8 to 2.34 meters, 6 to 7.8 feet, ranking it as the fifth largest among living eagle species. Sexual dimorphism is evident, with females surpassing males in size, particularly in larger subspecies. Regarding weight, male golden eagles typically average around 3.6 kilograms, 7.9 pounds, while females weigh approximately 5.1 kilograms, 11 pounds. Golden eagles typically have dark brown feathers on their body, wings, and tail, which helps them blend into their surroundings. The name golden is derived from the golden brown coloration on the back of their necks. Juveniles have a more mottled appearance with a mixture of dark and light feathers. The wing feathers are long and broad, allowing for efficient soaring and gliding, essential for covering large territories. Their tail feathers play a role in steering and maneuvering during flight. Also, did you know that golden eagles are sometimes considered the best flyers among eagles and perhaps among all raptorial birds? When they are hunting, they can glide at speeds up to 193 kilometers per hour, 120 miles per hour. Their beaks are strong, hooked, and sharply curved at the tip, allowing them to grasp and tear apart their prey. The powerful beak is a crucial adaptation for their carnivorous diet. The golden eagle can squash its prey with a force of 900 psi. This is enough to easily crush bones. Golden eagles are renowned for their exceptional eyesight, which is vital for hunting. Their eyes are large and well adapted to low-light conditions, enabling them to spot prey from high altitudes during their soaring flights. This keen eyesight is an essential tool for locating and tracking prey over expansive landscapes. Finally, the golden eagle's talons are large, sharp, and highly curved. The strength of the talons is notable, enabling golden eagles to capture a diverse range of prey including mammals, birds, and sometimes even larger animals. Hunting tactics. The hunting process of the golden eagle often begins with it soaring at great heights, utilizing its exceptional eyesight to survey the landscape below. From this vantage point, the eagle can spot potential prey, which may include mammals like rabbits, hares, or ground squirrels, as well as birds. The keen eyes of the golden eagle are adapted to detect movement and distinguish prey from the surrounding environment. Once a potential prey item is identified, the golden eagle decides on a target. Factors such as the size, movement, and accessibility of the prey influence this decision. Golden eagles are known to be opportunistic hunters, adapting their strategies based on the availability and vulnerability of different prey species. Having selected a target, the golden eagle enters a rapid and controlled dive, employing its powerful wings and sharp talons to gain speed and accuracy. This aerial descent, often referred to as a stoop or stooping, allows the eagle to close the distance between itself and the prey with incredible speed. The final moments of the dive involve a precise and well-timed extension of the talons to capture the prey. As the golden eagle makes contact with the prey, its large and sharp talons come into play. The curved talons are designed to pierce through the prey's feathers and flesh, securing a firm grip. The eagle's strength is crucial at this stage, as it subdues the captured prey, preventing any escape. The initial strike is swift and powerful, reflecting the precision and hunting prowess of the golden eagle. Following a successful capture, the golden eagle may remain on the ground to consume the prey, or more commonly, it will use its powerful wings to lift off and carry the prey to a suitable feeding location. The eagle's ability to carry prey while in flight showcases its strength and adaptability in managing the weight of the captured animal. It is believed that a golden eagle can lift up to 3 times its body weight using its talons. Once at a feeding site, the golden eagle utilizes its strong beak to tear into the flesh of the prey, revealing the efficiency of its feeding behavior. The beak is adept at tearing meat and accessing the nutritious parts of the prey. The feeding process is often quick and focused, allowing the eagle to consume its catch efficiently and get back up into the sky for its next hunt. Golden eagles are territorial birds, and their hunting process is not only a means of sustenance, but also a way to assert dominance over their territory. You will never be able to catch a golden eagle unaware of dangers in its territory. Thanks for watching. We hope you learned more about why the golden eagle is considered the true king of the North American skies. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them down below. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to stay tuned for more content like this. Until next time.